The Millennium Development Goals will be expired in 2015. And I think for the first time in the world, we have the two sides, the North and the South together, defining objectives to be attained and how through a partnership they can be attained together. I think what we have learned from those goals, they were very simple, but they were not interlinked and with a main goal to reduce or to eliminate poverty. But as we are linking or referring to poverty, they were covering only one part of the world, for only the developing countries. The developed countries were there as partners through development aid, helping the countries to reach the objectives. They were very simple, reduce half of the poverty, in water sanitation, in mortality, child mortality, And now we learn that the world has changed. And we need to reframe the world with a new paradigm. We have a shift on the paradigm. And I believe is what we learn, that we need to have more global goals. We need to see the world in another way. When I say another way, we need to have mutual responsibility, and we need to shift more to domestic solutions and domestic contribution to the achievement of those goals. To me, those are the big lessons we learned as we move to the Sustainable Development Goals. We have a big objective was to reduce hunger and poverty. We have achieved that. I think several countries, they are attaining the Millennium Development Goals. But when we see the global numbers, we have already, and today, around 850 million people around the world suffering from hunger and malnutrition. To us, we make progress, but we have yet to make additional progress to really eliminate hunger and poverty. Some countries, they have made progress. Others, they have yet to achieve those goals. And we need to reinforce other aid, other contribution to those countries in such a way that when we move to next year, we will be able to say not only the countries have achieved, but the majority of the country attained these figures, and probably in the global world we have reduced by half, if it's possible, the number of hunger people and the level of poverty. What we are doing now with the SDGs, as I said, the world has changed. We have a paradigm shift, and we need to reframe this new world, or the world we want in the next 20 years, through the Sustainable Development Goals. And this is what we are looking for. We need to have universal goals. As I said, they are not only referring to one part of the world, they are global goals to the entire world, maybe with different indicators, because the objectives doesn't have the same, affect in the same way the two words. I can give you an example. We have hunger or food insecurity and malnutrition. In the developed world, we don't have food insecurity and malnutrition, but we have obesity. And obesity is one way to see malnutrition. And this is what we are trying to frame with the new Sustainable Development Goals. We consider that the Rio +20 gave a way to follow when we frame those goals. We have to take into consideration the sustainability of the world, sustainability economic, social, and environment. The goals needs to be interconnected. We have food security, nutrition, and probably sustainable agriculture because they are interconnected, and one can contribute to the other. This is the background when we move to define these new sustainable development goals. They has to be universal, they have to be ambitious, but yet attainable. And this is how we are moving to those sustainable development goals. One of the big areas is food insecurity, or food security, let me say on the positive way, food security, nutrition, and sustainable agriculture. And they are really under the mandate of FAO. We are contributing with the other United Nations agencies to help the countries, because it's a country-led process, how they can frame those goals and how they can define targets and indicators. And this was maybe somehow missing with the MDGs. We have indicators, we can monitor progress towards achieving those goals. FAO is working on food and nutrition, sustainable agriculture, in oceans and seas, mountains, climate change, land tenure. FAO is working with the opening working group nominated by the General Assembly to guide the process and to support the negotiations among countries. And we work maybe in these two levels. We work with the opening working group, and now we are working with the countries, helping countries to have the technical background they might need to the discussions in New York in defining the goals, the targets, and indicators. We have moved forward here in Rome with the home-based agencies. We have already defined for food security and nutrition 5 targets and the indicators linked to them based on the Zero Hunger Challenge defined by the Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. We consider we have been very active and proactive in this process, and we will be working very close at these 2 streams to support the countries and to define those goals, as I mentioned, to be attainable, to be flexible, and reflecting the world we want in the next 20 years.